Hello and welcome everyone, I am Ducky Obrien, and today I'll be going over a game called Farmer Life Simulator. Farmer Life Simulator was developed and published by DNA... I don't have my page flipped correctly. DNA Army Gaming, and it was released onto the PC on August 21st, 2021. The current MSRP is $19.99. As always, the exact release date, pricing, and platform may vary from region to region and platform to platform. Alright, why don't we get into it? This is the same type of game made by the same people as Trader Life Sim. It's very bare bones. I'm not gonna start a new save file. I'm just gonna start the one that I had already, and I'm gonna show you guys the game. It's pretty darn janky and limited in function. And most of these games look and feel the same, so I feel like these are asset flips. That said, I did have fun with the game. I'm not saying it's a good game though. Alright. So the goal of the game is to farm and then collect your produce and then sell it. So I'm gonna show you guys how to do this real quick. You need a crate to collect the crops. You grab the crate and then you press F on the plants to harvest them. Right now I have automated watering, and I'm like, I love this. It waters the plants for you. In the beginning it's very slow because what you do is you have a small plot. You plant your plants, your crops. You put fertilizer on them. And then you water them, and then you just wait for the day to be over because you can only go to sleep when it's 7 p.m. That's the earliest you can go to sleep. So my farm is considerably larger, and the game doesn't really get much more different, alright? I believe there are some bugs as well. Okay, right now I'm growing tomatoes and apples. These are apples. They look just like the tomatoes. It's very similar if you take a look at them. Look, those are tomatoes, these are apples. Tomato, tomato, apple, same thing. And the weird part is, this is your farmland, right? Why are there lots blocked off? It doesn't make sense. It's like these people had never seen a farm before, you know? It's like, don't I own this farm? I guess not. Okay, so you start by doing that, and then you take your plants, and then you bring it up to a spot, and you press F to plant it. Again, you know, it's not the most realistic simulator, and if you check here, it's already watered because they bought this thing. Once you unlock that, it just automatically waters every slot. You grab a bottle of fertilizer, and then you put it onto those plants. One bottle has 3 uses, so you do need the automatic watering thingamabob, and there's an automatic fertilizer thing. You want that. That costs 1,000. The automatic waterer, irrigation, whatever it's called, costs 500, and you know, it's whatever. The fertilizer basically makes it grow twice as fast. These plants grow in 1 day with the fertilizer. Again, not the most realistic farming sim. Okay, and then I'm gonna put these crates here to make sure that I can collect them later. Now, each of these plots costs 500. Seems to be very flat. Now you can look on the lower left hand corner. I got my current cash, I got my health meter, I have my hunger meter, and I have my bathroom meter. So when the hunger meter fills up, you will not be able to run anymore. So you can buy food. It costs $5 to buy a sandwich from Subway. Yes, it's Subway. I'm going to show you real quick. Not right now though. You can drive down the hill totally, by the way. If you get stuck, spam R to reset your car position, because you will get stuck on rocks. I just wish that they made it so that... Oh, this part makes me a bit queasy. Oh yeah, look at those moves. Realistic gravity. Somehow the plants are still in the truck. You have a gas meter for the car? You can see there. Oh wait, I'm doing this wrong. I have to sell my plants before I go buy more. Or crops, produce, whatever. So if you press M, you can take a look at the map. Again, it's very similar to Trader Life Sim and the rest of their games. You can sell produce at the veggie shops. You can buy one. You can buy a smoothie store. The burger place is where you get food. The mechanic place in the lower right is where you get your car fixed. You get your gas over there. You get the doctor for your health. That's 100 for your meds or whatever they give you. Now, the game does have background music, but I put it on max and no one can hear it. It's very low, so I just turned it off because it's the same one song that loops forever, and I'm like, please, this is. Oh man, the production value of this game. Okay. So here's the vegetable shop. Again, very similar to Trader Life Sim. You can check the prices. Tomatoes 40, apple 61. What the heck? So low. We'll go check the other store. 40.61. So your routine is collect your crops, plant new ones, fertilize them, bring the crops down, sell your crops, buy new ones, buy new supplies, and repeat that forever. 40.61, okay. 47.50. Oh. I get I'll sell all my tomatoes here then. And I sell my apples on the other place. This is funny. Glitch was like, there's only one thing that's wrong. You can put the item down while it's still in your hands. You know? I was like, oh, that's the only thing that's wrong. Oh, apples. Okay. I wish you can grab multiple crates, you know, like that would make sense. Can only grab one crate at a time. I want to maximize my profit. Although it's not going to make too much of a difference considering those prices are by crate. There is, I believe, a bounding box for the truck, and if you exceed the bounding box by stacking boxes really high, it will just float in air when you drive off, so that made me really sad. Okay, let's talk to the guy to sell. Make some money. So the prices go up and down from day to day, and yeah, I feel like the game cheats a little bit by lowering the prices of the crops you focus on. I feel like that's what's happening, to be honest. Because I was like, ooh, apple prices are high, let's plant apples. The next day, apple prices are low. So I'm like, alright, let's plant tomatoes then. And then the tomato prices went down and apple prices went up. I'm like, screw this. So I started planting both and now both are down. Coincidence? I think not. Okay, now we have $510. $510. I'm starting to slur my words a little bit. It's currently 3 a.m. right now. People think I'm a degen because I'm up all night, but I'm just grinding really hard most of the time. I really want to make games coverage successful, you know? I want to do this as a living. So I'm working really hard, but you know, I gotta make content people want to see, and I guess I'm not doing that, you know? It's okay though, it's okay. I'll figure it out as I go along. But yeah, I'm starting a new side project called Waifu with my buddies. I'm gonna see how that goes. It's just gonna be trash content for the sake of generating traffic. And I'll see how that goes. Yeah, when you back up a little bit and your car's still moving, it'll just keep moving. So here's the water thingamabob that I bought. You only have to buy it once. This is the automatic fertilizer. It's $1,000, worth it. And then for these new crops, you have to gain reputation by selling vegetables to the shops. And I feel like I can't get to that point or it's taking too long. So it's a little busted. Someone mentioned that in the reviews and I think it is not working. So okay. I kind of mix and match to make sure I don't have a lot of possible loss, because when the apple prices go down or tomato prices go down, it hurts. Okay. So later on, it does get a little bit hectic to do everything. So you do want to buy the automation stuff. It actually helps. So I'm gonna say for the automatic fertilizer, first of all, it will save me money from buying fertilizer, and it will save me a lot of time. Now the only problem is, like, I like the progression, but it doesn't really go anywhere other than that. Like, it's a really bare bones game. You know, like, why am I trying to make money? I don't know. To unlock all the farm plots, I guess. Like, in other games, like if you compare to Harvest Moon, let's say, you know, you got a lot of stuff to do. A lot. There's not just like, oh, you get your entire farm freed up and you can plant more stuff. You're like making different things. You get cows, you know. There's a lot of things happening. You go into town, you talk to people, you get a waifu or a husbando, you know, you enlarge your house. So like, there's always a reason or motivation to, you know, do well on your farm. You don't have to if you don't want to. You can do whatever you want. But like, there are things you can do. So I enjoy that a lot more. This game, like, I do want to unlock all of the farm, but it's just buying the plots. Like, you got these two pieces of equipment. You know, can I buy anything else more? You know, just mentioning that the developers made a game like this already called Trader Life Sim. I'm like, I look at their games, I'm like, I feel like they're not really improving. It's like, maybe they are, I can't tell, alright? Maybe it's just one person making a game and it's really difficult, and you know, kudos to them for making a game. I don't care what people say. Making a game is really hard. It's really hard. I tried it with my cousin. We had this grand vision for a open world VR game, kind of like Bully, and we were gonna, you know, we had a lot of great ideas. We had parts of the skits, not skits, the cutscenes, the scenarios, like the gameplay mechanics, all of that. And then when we got to actually making the game, like, god dang it, this is actually hard. So I know they're quote unquote pro indie devs. I know that's kind of like an oxymoron, but like, they could probably make a game like this in a week. So, you know, I know there are people who are like, oh, I can make this pretty easily. I'm like, okay, that's fair enough. I don't know the developers' situation, but I'm just saying that most of their games look and feel quite the same. It doesn't seem to be evolving, so I wonder if it's just a cash grab, you know? All right, maybe that's kind of offensive to them, but yeah, I don't know. I'm just saying, bro. Can add a few more mechanics, maybe, you know? I mean, have you seen a farm? Okay. Let me go buy some food. Let me show you what it looks like. That said, I did enjoy Trader Life Sim as well, alright? I actually like their games. Unironically speaking. I'm not gonna say they're good games. Alright, look at this. This is the funniest part of the game. This is a freaking Subway. Okay, look. It's Subway. They made a rip-off Subway. It's so funny. So you buy one sub, and then your hunger meter goes all the way down. Now, I'm not for making games difficult. I remember reading... I didn't read the whole post, but someone wrote a very long post on Fallout 4's combat and why it was quote-unquote too easy. And I'm like, I don't care. Not everything has to be difficult for the sake of being difficult, alright? So this guy wrote like a long opinionated post, and I'm like, I just don't give enough of a rat's ass. So, you know, someone could be playing this and be like, oh, this is too easy. You shouldn't do this. You should make the food meter go up a lot faster and make you eat 3 times a day. I'm like, no, 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 no. Games are supposed to be fun, okay? This game is not good, but there's still some fun parts, thanks to the jankiness, you know? Thanks to the mechanics not being that well thought out, you can have some goofy fun. Like me, driving up the mountain. If I couldn't do that, it would kind of suck. Okay, so here we are. As you can see, it's 5 p.m. It's definitely getting more and more, whatchamacallit. What's the word I'm looking for here? It's taking more time to do this, alright? Let me crouch, look at this. Oh my god, this makes me sick. I'm gonna puke. So I'm one of the few people who get affected by motion sickness in video games. There were 2 games that I played recently that affected me quite strongly. And Dying Light was one of them that I played a while back. I was excited to play the game, and then when I played it, I was like, oh no, I'm gonna puke after about playing for 30 minutes. But yeah, this game, that crouch, dude, there's no animation. It just instantly goes down. I'm like, whoa, this is not how you do crouching, my friends. You gotta animate it, bro. Like, what the heck are you doing? Okay. So before you use the water with this, okay. But yeah, if someone gave me this game for free, I'm like, okay, it's not bad. If I had to pay $20 for it, I'm like, oh man, I think I got ripped off. You know? Okay, can't wait to buy the automatic fertilizer. This guys, I'm a pro farmer. So what I need to do is I need to save up 1,000 plus enough money to buy more crops. Okay, that's what I need to do. So now I gotta do this. 7 p.m. See, it's before I would finish by like 3 p.m., 1 p.m. when you're first starting out and be like, oh, what do I do? You just wait. But as you play more, like, bro, it takes forever. It takes forever. Setting up the new plants here. Right now, I don't think it's worth getting more plots because it would just take too much time to do the fertilizer too and too much money. So I'm gonna save up. I mean, you can actually do the math by, you know, adding up your profits versus costs, looking at the net profit, and then comparing what it would be if you know, either get more plots first or get the fertilizer automated first, and then you can kind of look at it and be like, oh yeah, this is clearly better. It's up to you guys. I'm not gonna crunch the numbers. I'm just gonna eyeball it. I should just put the fertilizer here too. I wonder if this will save. Ironically enough though, there are some methods that I try to use to cheese the game and it would not let me do it. I have yet to break the game intentionally the way that I want to yet, so I'll give it credit for that. When I was streaming it, people made the joke that it has less bugs than Cyberpunk. You know, as a meme, I like Cyberpunk and I played it on launch and it worked perfectly fine for me, other than some bugs where the stealth would not work, and that bummed me out quite a bit. Because I was trying to play stealth and I'm like, oh no, the game will literally not let me do that. It was game breaking for certain areas. I wish the stealth was a little bit more consistent in that game in Cyberpunk, because I love playing stealth. I think they nerfed the revolver though, so basically the stealth build was you would get a silenced revolver and then you would spec so that no one can get triggered off your kills, and you would just literally go around the map sneaking and then headshotting people with the revolver, and it was a fun time. I love that. Again, I don't want games to be hard for the sake of being hard. When you get overpowered, like that makes the game a lot more fun, you know? You earned it. I don't want cheats or anything. Okay, let's go to sleep now. It saves when you end the day. And like I said, it doesn't seem like there's much more in the game. Like you can buy a smoothie shop. I don't know what it does. Probably generates more profit. I'm gonna use the bathroom real quick. Okay. So yeah, I would like to start planting the new crops, but it won't let me. So I don't know how many more times I have to sell these crops before I can get new ones. I don't know if it's tied to like the amount of plots I have open, although it says I have to keep selling more crops to the vegetable stores before I get my reputation increased. I'm like, why does it require a reputation? I'm just literally buying plants. You know, if I go to a nursery and be like, yo, can I buy this plant? And they're like, no, your reputation isn't high enough. I'm like, what? That makes no sense. I have money. You know, like, it seems a little bit silly, but. So I wouldn't call it like a farming sim. I would call it more like a, I don't know, money making sim. But yeah, I had a lot of fun playing it and streaming it. A lot of people dropped by. It was a great time. It was an impromptu stream. Late at night on Saturday, you know, instead of having fun like everyone else, I was just like, I got 3 games to cover that I need done before the week is over. And so there I was grinding, and then people dropped by and chatted, and it was a lot of fun. I really appreciate that. They kept me company. Super nice people. Yeah, I actually enjoy this game, you know? Definitely could use a lot of improvements. But like I kind of like it as is, you know? I'm not going to say it's a good game. And you know, the developers could definitely try harder, I guess, for certain things, considering this is not their first game, you know? But yeah, I'm having fun with it, and I'm pretty sure there are people out there that will have fun with this game. Doesn't have every game doesn't have to be hyper realistic or anything. And there are a lot of people who didn't have fun with this game when I read the Steam reviews. Although I gotta say, I think a lot of the reviews that were too negative were kind of rushed. So what I mean by that is you have to look at the amount of time they spent playing the game. A lot of people only spent like, I don't know, 1 hour, 30 minutes. 30 minutes to 1 hour, I mean, before leaving a review, and some of their complaints didn't really hold up. So one of the complaints I heard was, you know, the game, there's really not much to do because you're gonna run out of time. You're just gonna wait for the timer to be at 7 p.m. It hits 7 p.m. so you can go to sleep and start the next day. Like, that's true when you're first starting out, But later on, it's just like super, super time heavy. So you have to optimize, you know? So they were clearly wrong because they didn't play the game enough. So that's why when you leave a review, you have to make sure that you spend enough time playing the game. For me, I would ideally like to leave a review once I 100% a game. So I fully beat the game. I do every piece of content available for the game, if possible, and I try to get all of the achievements. So I don't like making reviews unless I do that, because when I give my opinion of a game, I want to make sure that it's coming from a place of experience and an informed opinion too, because it's going to affect the sales of the game to a very small degree. Apparently, all the information points to the fact that reviews don't affect the sales of a game, and this is very true for a lot of games. And when there's a very clear example, Outriders. Outriders had a very large percentage of negative reviews since launch day, and it still sold a lot of copies, like an insanely high number of copies. But overall, the percentage of negative reviews was still very significant. I would say about 40 to 30%. I mean, you can verify this on Steam itself. 4168. All right, let's check the other store. 4168. So the reviews don't really affect the sales of a game too much. It does affect some people. I think what affects the sale of a game more is word of mouth from friends. So if your friend was playing Outrider and it's like, yo, get this game with me and play it together, you're more likely to buy it. Or if your friend's like, yo, this Outrider game, not so good. You're not likely to get it then. Okay, 45 sell tomatoes here at Apple's at the other store. Like if you're about to buy Outriders and all your friends like, nah, we're not gonna play it, then you probably wouldn't want to buy it, right? If there's no one to play with, you know? But anyways, I feel obligated though to do my due diligence and play the game thoroughly before I write a review on it. And leading to my next topic, I talk about this stuff a lot because I think about it a lot. Because I think about the nature of games coverage. People call it games journalism, but it's not journalism, alright? It's just coverage. You're covering a game for the sake of increasing exposure for, the titles. I finally came to a conclusion about the nature of reviews. So for me, a review isn't the opinion of the reviewer, alright? Because no one cares. No one cares about a reviewer's opinion, alright? And it's not them breaking down whether the game is quote unquote good or not, alright? Because that is very, very, very subjective. So there are certain things you can be like, oh, this is kind of good, I guess, and most people would agree. And you can be like, this is kind of bad, most people would agree too. But when it comes down to it, it's all based on preference. It's like, what is the person looking for? So for example, people love Final Fantasy XIV now. But you know what? I hate MMOs. I absolutely detest MMORPGs. The reason being, I think the game design for MMOs are... It's not conducive to good games. Now, a lot of people are going to get angry at that statement. What I mean by that is, not for Final Fantasy XIV, I'm just talking about in general for MMOs. The basic gameplay design is they hook you in, and then they put in artificial progression halters so that it pads out the amount of time you have to spend. So a lot of games do this where, like, oh, the beginning is very interesting, it's a lot of fun, and you're getting progression fast, and then all of a sudden, it crawls to a halt, and you can't progress unless you grind. It's not based on skill, which was the natural progression halter for video games. If you sucked at a certain point, you couldn't get past it until you got good enough to beat it. But for MMOs, a large portion of it, I mean, you still need a lot of skill, alright? I'm not saying it's not based on skill. A large portion of it is based on you grinding away. Now, for Final Fantasy XIV, I don't think that's the issue there because my buddy Barry played the game and got to level 60 in like a day or something like that. You know, he grinded super hard a week. I don't remember. It was something insanely short, like in a matter of a few days. He got to max for the free, and then he bought all the expansion packs, and he's been grinding away since. And he actually plays it because it's fun. So, anyways, I'm seeing this creep into modern game design for single player games. Like I'm looking at games and I'm like, why can I buy like experience boosters for Assassin's Creed? You know, like why am I buying stuff to make the game go faster? All right, it's an evil way to monetize. Anyways, yeah, now there are a lot of people who are like, no, Final Fantasy and all the MMOs, even World of Warcraft and every single MMO made are good games, and it's like you can't really disprove that, right? You can make arguments as to why you think certain things are bad or good, like I did about the artificial progression halters in MMOs, and that leaking into modern game design because it's easier to monetize that way. It's a lazy way to monetize because you can make a very short game and then make it take a very long time to beat, you know? Anyways, the whole point is that the review is supposed to predict whether or not the person reading the review or watching it or listening to it will like the game or not. And you're like, how do you do that when there's, you know, a lot of people reading it? And it's very simple. You use analytics. You use analytics and the insight you gained from working in the coverage world to kind of break down, you know, everything together and then kind of put it all together for the person watching and listening, and use your experience and observation to predict whether someone's gonna like it or not. So it's like, if you like this game or if you like these type of games, you're gonna like this game. Possibly. You can be like, oh, like 78% of people who played Trader Life Sim will probably like this game, you know? You can say something like that. So that's the whole point of a review, is to serve the consumer, and for that, it's not whether or not the reviewer thinks it's a good game or not. That has no bearing on it whatsoever, because the consumer reading it could have different opinions or preferences. So if you hate MMOs and you play an MMO and you write a bad review of an MMO, it's not going to help anyone, you know? If you only play MMOs and you like every MMO and you write a positive review of an MMO, that's also not going to help everyone. So now, you know, you're supposed to kind of play the game, think about the analytics of like, oh, this X group of people who played this game or this genre will probably play this game and like it. Or like, you're like, oh, I know that, you know, this type of group like this type of game. And you use all of that, all the analytics, your experience, your observations, your knowledge of the industry to accurately predict whether or not someone's gonna like the game or not. That is the purpose of a review. But then, I don't know, somewhere along the way, these quote-unquote games journalists, they're not journalists either, okay? Some of them are. They do really neat stuff. Like Drew Scanlon, he travels the world and just documents all of these different cultures around the lens, through the lens of video gaming. So he kind of, I think he made one about like underground LAN parties in Cuba or something like that. I forgot what country, but he makes some crazy good videos. And you know it's good because like I was a massive fan of Giant Bomb. And so I knew Drew Scanlon, you know, when he was on Giant Bomb, and then when he left to do his, I think it was Cloth Map, I forgot what it's called, but he did that thing. And my buddy, who doesn't care about video game stuff at all, watches his videos. So you know it's good stuff. That's like games journalism. But in terms of like writing reviews, I think people kind of got, a little bit like their egos got inflated and they're like, oh, my takedown, my not takedown, my breakdown on the game on whether or not it's good or not is important. And I'm like, it's really not. It's really not. No one really cares unless it's like a group of fans of that character. The cult of personality is pretty strong. People really like you, then they're gonna want to know. They don't really care if you think it's good or not. I mean, if it's art or not, or your breakdowns. It's more like, oh, do you like this game? And like, okay, I'll play it then. Or do you not like this game? Oh, I might not play it then. Yeah, long rambling speech. I've gotten old. When you get older, you kind of think about life quite a bit, and you reflect more, and it's because you realize your own mortality. Oh, I need to buy more plants. I don't have enough. Whatever. I can buy it later, I guess. We're gonna call it there, though. That's good enough. Make money so slowly. I wish it was a little bit, just slightly quicker in terms of unlocking the other plants. But yeah, I believe that is the purpose of a review. It's based on analytics and predictions. It's like, what kind of person will like this game or not like this game? That's also valuable. And let's say you're really good at that, alright? Let's say you're really good at predicting using information. People would appreciate that because they're like, oh, this guy can predict whether or not I'll like this game. And that's valuable because people don't have time. They don't have unlimited time, they have limited time, and they have limited money. So they want to get the most out of that. They want to get the most out of every game they play. Okay. We got the plants. We got the tray set up. We have enough fertilizer. We need to buy some more plants. But I don't care. So I'm just gonna wait here for it to hit 7. And then I'm gonna go save. And we'll call it there. But yeah, there we go. Let's go save. I gotta go eat food next time. I gotta use the bathroom. I know no one watches these videos and like listens to what I say. Some people do every once in a while, but I understand it's not really engaging content. It's not really entertaining content or informational or provides value to you guys. So I totally understand that. I'm just making it because I want to. Also, I believe that at least for previews, it shouldn't be edited and it should be near the beginning of the game, because if you give only the entertaining parts, it's gonna make the game look a lot better than it is, and I don't want to do that. That's not my goal. I want accurate representation of what it's like to play a game, including all the tedious bits, so you can, if you're watching the video and like, oh, this part's really boring, guess what? It's really boring playing it. It's not gonna change. Alright, I'm gonna call it there. Thank you so much for dropping by and watching. I genuinely appreciate it. I've been getting a lot more support on my channel, and I appreciate it. Not for my previous stuff. That's been doing better actually. Yeah, it's doing a lot better than it normally has. It doesn't mean a lot. Like, it went from like, anywhere from like 5 to 15 views to maybe 30 sometimes. And I know what you're saying. 30 views is not a lot, but it's a lot compared to what I normally get, okay? So, yeah, I appreciate it, whoever you are. And thank you for giving me your time. Thank you for those of you who subscribed. I don't deserve it as well. I know that, but I appreciate it. And I was gonna say something, but I forgot. So we'll just continue on. It is now 3:34 a.m. Anyways, what am I supposed to say? Oh yes. Hopefully this gives you guys an idea what the game is like, and hopefully you enjoyed what you saw. If you have any questions, comments, things you'd like to see or for me to cover, please feel free to leave a comment down below, and I'll try to get back to you as fast as possible. So please keep in mind, I am one guy doing everything, okay? Anyways, as always, hope you guys are staying safe and sane out there, and I will catch you guys next time. So one thing I tried to do was I tried to just hop over the fence and plant something in here, but it wouldn't let me do that. So I was like, darn it. Darn you, game. You've actually put some thought into into it. Alright. Catch you guys next time.